The poem Ode on a Grecian Urn by Keats answers the fundamental question, does beauty equal truth? This is what the narrator of the poem spends the entire duration of the poem contemplating. I argue that using the Grecian Urn, Keats suggests that while art is immortal, it fails to convey the passion which is possible by people. Using the composited image of a Greek vessel, Keats shows that whilst art may produce a more elevated form of sensual and artistic experience, it is lacking in the fleeting passion of human life, which gives it significance. The first three lines depict the Grecian urn itself as a conflicting and contradictory object. It is at the same time all of a pride of quietness, a child of silence and slow time, and a historian of nature. This can be seen as the urn simultaneously being in all stages of life, is at the same time in the spring of adolescence, middle age, and at a reflective final stage of its life as an older historian and recollector of nature. This panoramic perspective shows how the urn transcends time and society itself, being elevated from being confined to a position in time. The titles bequeathed upon the urn may also highlight this transcendence of definition. They show the vessel's relation to these concepts rather than being directly of them, and is separated by a degree at every angle. Bride, child, and historian all suggest a relation to the opposite other. Quietness as the groom, silence as the father, and nature as the studied subject. It in turn shapes how the urn is defined by those around it and shifts its meaning accordingly. In this situation, Keats finds that it is difficult to pinpoint what the Grecian urn is. It is an object that transcends barriers of time and definition. It is not constrained like the poet is by his confinement within time and the definition of his life. Consequently, the urn must be a better communicator than the human artist, who is not fettered and can be interpreted in an infinite number of ways. This is expounded upon in the last line, where the urn can be seen as a better communicator than the poet, who is restricted to the rhyme as opposed to being able to tell a flowery tale. The urn is thus shown superior to human lyric in that it can tell a greater tale. The success of this multifaceted, undefinable nature of the urn is by the narrator's excitement initially in approaching the object, which he sees as multiple things. The repeated question, fired off at a rapid pace, become apostrophes which highlight the duplicity of the urn. The narrator wants to define and extract as much as possible from the urn, but finds it impossible. Next, Keats produces a series of images which have found themselves etched upon the urn. First is the youth, then the lover, tree, and the musician. This section seemingly contrasts the previous, while it still emphasizes art as a higher form of expression, which can be used to show the complexities and the sadness of immortality. While the images on the outside of the urn are immortalized in the image, Keats laments about how they're stuck in time, trapped in the moment, and unable to fulfill their natural processes. What is the point of art being able to produce higher emotion when it can never fulfill itself? While the poet or the person may be confined in the expression and subject to human embarrassments of being left cloyed with a burning forehead and parching tongue, they're at least able to consummate their love with the finished action. The narrator is subsequently forced to compensate the image with the repetition of happy, happy, which attempts to override the dreariness of being stuck in time. While we treasure immortality, Keats uses the urn to show how the unlimited Grecian urn is girded by a deep, troubling sadness. While the two lovers can remain in loving romance for the rest of their life, they are also unable to consummate their love with a kiss. The trees, although lush, will never wilt, and the lover, while never growing old, will also never be able to develop their passion. The next image Keats depicts is that of a ritualistic sacrifice, where the members of the town lead a cow to an altar to be sacrificed. The narrator does not dwell, however, on the image, and instead shifts attention to what is not there. The sacrifice will be conducted, but what is the meaning of it? It will not bring prosperity to the town, which has been left empty and desolate. Thy streets for evermore will silent be, and not a soul to tell. He draws attention to the town being empty. He emphasizes what becomes of the people of the town after they have all left to attend the wedding. They leave behind a desolate and empty world behind them in their long sojourn upon the jar. Keats, at the end, finally begs the question of whether beauty is something that can be captured in an image, like the urn, or can be found in the fleeting moment. The final lines, beauty is truth, truth, beauty. That is all ye know on earth and all ye need to know, seem to explain this. Its meaning can be left for the reader to decide. It may be that art represents the highest form of truth, representing a beauty and truth of humans cannot achieve in all their transient lives. It shows art's enduring beauty as the highest form of truth, and all that is need to be known. However, it can also be that it represents the beauty and the truth of our own fateful impermanence. Perhaps the beauty arises from the truth that the moments we treasure are ephemeral, and that the things that we do will never be captured and immortalized, which gives them meaning. Their completion in itself is what gives human lives purpose.